Okay, we're back for video number 2 in our Simply Elegant stamp class for May. Let's see if we can't pull it up on the iPad. Give everybody a chance to jump in and go out and go back in. Welcome back. Jan's back. We've got a couple projects to show you that we've already made, and I did show these at Launch Party and on my Facebook Live last week, so you may have already seen them, but I always love showing pretty cards more than once. What are you up to today, Jan? Such a pretty day. Able to find it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these projects. Now, these are little 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch cards that I made on a Facebook Live, I guess last week. So just really wanted to show off the pretty paper. And then this is the card I received in a swap. It is really pretty. I just love the font on these sentiments too. And then this is a neat one. It's the bookbinder, which I'm just in love with this fold. I'm seeing it more and more. So it's really pretty. And then just again, letting that paper really shine. I don't think really any of them are fancy on the inside, but certainly with the stamps, the floral and flourish images, you could really decorate the inside as well. Here's another one that we made on Facebook Live, just really letting that paper do all the work. And this is a really pretty one. One of my friends made this for a swap, and I just loved it. Loved that she embossed the sentiment. So this paper really does lend itself well to embossing. So I'll go ahead and bring in the project. One second. So this is the little picture frame that we're going to be making. And this is a really pretty sentiment that we're using. Now you could certainly make this picture frame with any paper that you have, any sentiment that you have, but this would be really pretty. Had I gotten a couple of Tara's wedding photos printed out, that's what I intended to do, just did not get that done, but this is just a really pretty little picture frame that you can make with Designer Series paper. Where did I put that piece, Dale, to slip in there to show them? Oh, okay, I found it. Oh, thank you. So you can just actually pop your photo in from the top. So isn't this cool? I saw someone, she is not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, demonstrate how to make this project, and I just absolutely loved it, and I thought this is really pretty with these products. So this is what we're going to create. And we did a little bit of work ahead of time. So let me just show you some of the things that you're going to need. We started out with just a piece of chipboard. So always keep your chipboard or that sturdy cardboard that comes with your Designer Series paper. We use this for shipping most of the time if we need to kind of sturdy up a package that's going out so cardstock doesn't get bent, but you get this chipboard free. So this is a great way to use something that you've already got. And what we did was just cut that down to 6 inches by 6 inches. And then we've got a piece of very vanilla cardstock that is 8 inches by 8 inches. And we're just going to cover this piece in just a moment. But first I want to show you everything that we're going to need. And we've gone ahead and embossed the sentiment here on a piece of very vanilla. And do you have that die, Dale, that we used for this? It
Yes.
comes from, what set is that? Poppy
Painted labels.
Painted Labels. So this is the die that we used to cut this sentiment out, but it was a little bit too big. So just put it back in and cut that other piece off. So this is a great way to kind of extend the use of your dies too. So we needed a little bit thinner, so we just ran it back through. Then you have got 4 pieces of chipboard that are 6 inches by 1 inch. And I have already covered them with Designer Series paper just to try to keep this video from going quite as long. And then you need 3 pieces of Designer Series paper covered chipboard that are 4 inches by 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and show you on this one kind of how we did this, because we want to go ahead and let this chipboard dry for a minute. So just using some liquid glue. I want to be really generous so everything stays put. And we just cut this about 1 inch bigger than what we needed. I'll give that just a minute to dry.
You got Baby Ruth, Lisa, and Cassandra that joined you.
Hi.
And Baby Ruth wants to know, would the Timeless Labels punch work?
With that sentiment, it is really tight. I think it may, because of the little flourish on either end. You want to grab those? Do we have Timeless Label punch? Yeah. It's one of those punches. We could check that and see up against the stamp if that would work. It might. You're right. Okay, now I'm just going to come in and kind of snip away a little bit around these corners so I don't have so much bulk.
Is it this one?
I think so.
Let's take top.
No. It's one of the label punches that's in the holder.
Oh,
The punches. Yeah, that's a good idea, Baby Ruth. That's who said that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. We were looking at dies when we were trying to cut that out. And I wanted something a little bit decorative. Did that work with the sentiment?
It's a little bit smaller.
Where's the sentiment? Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. Yeah.
You'd have to slide it in. You'd have to cut it from both sides.
Yeah, but I think it's not long enough.
But you just have to do the trick with it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true, because you could make that as long as you wanted also. Thinking outside the box there, y'all. And then I'm just going to kind of come across and break the fibers of that Designer Series paper so that it will fold up onto this piece. Okay, any other questions so far?
No, we just got Diana and Brother Lisa saying hi.
Glad to see y'all. Probably put too much glue. Yes, it is possible. Then you get sticky fingers. So we'll just let this adhere. It'll take just a minute. For a minute I thought I put the wrong side of the paper on, which, you know, we could have fixed that too. Yeah, I need to think more about my punches and the fact that you can manipulate them that way. That would have been perfect. Let's let this glue adhere to this chipboard. So this is really a pretty simple project. I cannot remember the name of the lady that I watched her video, but she is really awesome on this tutorial. And so I thought this will be fun to share with y'all. And I think it works perfectly with this paper. So let me set this aside to dry now. And we will go ahead and start working on our base. So again, we're just going to adhere this. Now you may have done something like this if you make your own albums, and it's just very much like that. You could use tear tape. I'm going to use liquid glue, and I'm going to be very generous with it. But you just want a nice strong adhesive when you're making something like this. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We're actually going to cover the back. Of course, you want to try to center it, but it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't get hung up on that, okay? This is a really pretty simple project. Just going to use my bone folder to try to get that glue to really sink down into the fibers of that cardstock. What I love is you guys have probably everything you need to make this project. Just begin to start wrapping that cardstock around and kind of breaking the fibers down. And I'm going to pull it nice and tight. And I'll go all the way around. So this video may be a little bit longer.
Hey Bruce says she's going to make several of these and use different punches for the label.
Oh, that's a good idea. I thought, wouldn't this be a cute little gift at a retreat? Really cute. What I plan to do with these two that we're making today, because both of mine are going to be kind of wedding themed. I love this sentiment. So I thought that would be really nice for Tara to have to hang or set on her desk, which we can talk about that a little bit too. Just cutting off that excess again. Again, you don't have to be super perfect. We're just kind of clipping away some of that bulk. But when I fold it, it works a little bit better. And now we're going to begin folding these over and gluing them down. Make sure I didn't cut too much off. May want to take just a little bit more right here. I think that's good. But there's lots of different things you could use these for. Glue on there. So it's going to be a little bit of a process getting this together, so y'all just kind of bear with me. And we will put the measurements for this in the description. Probably this afternoon I'll get back and do that for you. I think I'll come around to this side next. A little bit more glue. And again, you could use tear and tape for all of this. Y'all know I love my liquid glue because it gives me time to adjust and work with it. And really, even just the base of this, there's so many projects that you could make. My mind has been kind of spinning with ideas. So you probably will see something similar to this again. I just love this like as a retreat gift. I thought that would be really fun. Or even for a birthday party, you could, any kind of party, could make these up as a takeaway gift. What do you think, Dee?
I think I'm going to have fun.
Making picture frames? Yeah, you know, the engineer in him, he cut my chipboard for me. And then he's over there with a file making sure all of the edges are nice and straight. Y'all know him. Oh, I've got glue on my fingers again. I've overused my glue. Okay, so this is the back. We could certainly leave it like that if we wanted to, but we're professionals, so would you mind grabbing me? Well, you better not. I was going to say a damp paper towel, but I'm afraid Oliver, that might upset Oliver if we go in there, so he's being really good this morning. Okay, so we're just going to put this on the back. This is a 6x6 piece of Berry Vanilla. Just kind of finish everything off really nice. And now we've got something to work with to build our frame. So I think I'm actually going to make this the back where we covered, because we're going to stack our pieces and it will cover this up. So that will make everything look really nice and finished. Okay. What's that? Oh, thank you. I got glue. A little bit too much glue, didn't I? I'm sticky. Okay, so the next step in, let's talk about these pieces just a little bit. You have to watch with your paper when it's directional. So on this paper, we had to cut it differently than this because this is a non-directional paper. It really did not matter. That pattern was going to look fine no matter where we cut it. This one we had to make sure that everything was going the same direction. So just pay attention to that when you're deciding what paper. You could certainly use any paper that you want to though. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with a couple of our long pieces and we're going to adhere them to the side. And again, I'm going to use liquid glue. You could certainly pull in your tear and tape. And making sure I've got plenty of liquid glue on there. And I'll come over to the side. Oops. And attach that first one. And it is important that you get everything lined up. So it is important that your chipboard pieces, yeah, I'm a little bit shy here, but that's okay. Actually going to bring it down to the bottom. Kind of justify it to the bottom because that will be covered. But you do want everything to be just cut and scored and everything exactly as you can so that it comes together well. So then we're going to bring another long piece over here, but first I want to take a look at this. Let's go ahead and get our glue on. Any questions or anything, Dee?
I don't see any questions. They must be mesmerized.
It's a fun project. And I'm going to justify that to the bottom because I can kind of zhuzh it at the top. I want to make sure that I get that over a little bit so that these pieces will fit in. So I'm just going to slide up, making sure that this is going to work.
Baby Ruth says she saves her chipboard.
Oh, good. I do too. I've always done that. I used to give it to somebody, I think Dana, but I've begun using quite a bit of it. So definitely if you make your own albums, and it's so easy to do that.
She said she made a baby flip album with it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the packaging, and we're crafty like that. Okay, now we're ready for one of our small pieces that's going to just drop right in there. Let me make sure. So far, so good. So this is one of our 4" by 1" pieces. We'll glue it in at the bottom. This is a pretty pattern paper too. Okay, nice and tight in there.
You gonna tell them how I tried to save paper and got glue all over everything?
Yeah, when we were working on kind of figuring everything out and watching this, oh, I wish I could remember her name. I'll have to go find it for y'all. When we were watching her video, she used big pieces of paper to cover. I mean, it went all the way in the back, and sometimes she'd even have to trim off. Well, Dale is a paper saver, and I always tell him, hey, we use the paper up, we can buy some more, right? So he's a paper saver. Well, he had it where it would barely fold over the edges, and he had glue everywhere. So don't recommend that, because you don't want glue on the outside parts. Now, something that you may not be able to really tell from the video is there's a window sheet in here. You don't have to put that on there. If you plan to put something inside that has some dimension, you would not have to do that. But here is the point that you want to put your window sheet on. So for this, we cut, I think we ended up doing like 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Is that right, Dee?
I believe so,
I
yes.
think so. So, you know, Stampin' Up! We sell window sheets, and there's many uses for them. And we're just going to come in on the window sheet on both sides. Kind of hard to see with that light up above, but I'll do my best here. We're just going to put that window sheet on both sides. And it doesn't have to go on 3 sides.
Tear tape on 3 sides.
Is that what I said? What did I say?
You said you were going to put window sheet.
Oh,
window
sorry.
sheet on both sides.
Trying to concentrate, not mess up. We're going to put tear tape on 3 sides, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Because you want the top to be open.
to be open. Now, we've only made a couple of these, so but they're really easy. Now, you don't have to have a huge piece like I was doing. It doesn't have to be that much, but
The outside you can do it on all 4. But I normally try to do it all the way across that 6-inch piece at the top.
oh, okay. Yeah, we'll go back in there and I just want to get the window sheet on right now. I think that's good. I can go back in there and put some more if I need to. Okay, let me find my take your pick tool and pull some of this backing off. Just kind of put it on the frame. I thought that might show up better for you guys.
Judy wants to know if you could put the window sheet under the side and bottom panels, but we're putting another layer
Yeah, you're going to put another layer.
of
That
cheese.
may not be, yeah, that may not be clear just yet, but we're putting another layer of the paper to actually make the frame part.
And then sheet sandwich between.
Mm-hmm. So we'll come in here and add our window sheet. So it's just slightly smaller. You've got a little bit of wiggle room, so make sure that that is adhered down. Now you're just kind of sandwiching it in there. I'm afraid if you put it underneath, it would be too close. It would be a little bit harder. I need another little piece under there. It would be a little bit harder, I think, to put your photo in. Now you could certainly, if you knew what photo you wanted to use, you could, and it was a permanent frame, you could just put that photo in there and close everything up. But this way it makes it where you could change those out if you want to. That's a good question though. Yeah, and I'll come back in with a little bit more tear tape on the top here.
Debbie says hi.
Hello. Glad to see you. Okay. So now I can put a little bit more. To help hold these other pieces on. So I think the possibilities, of course, are endless with this. Depending on what paper you use, you could also do all kinds of decorating. Okay, so now we're ready to start with our other pieces. Okay, so we're going to put this one down here on the bottom. And again, I want to get it lined up. Now, I don't have the wiggle room this time because I'm using tear tape, so I still want to make sure I get everything squared up as best I can. And then we'll come in. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. It's okay. And it's handmade. And come in with this side piece. And this side piece. You can see once you get your prep work done, this comes together really easily. Now this piece is going to come across the top, and it may be up just a little bit. I don't know what I did there. It's not lining up like I want it to. Anyway, you get the idea though. I may have to kind of zhuzh that just a little bit. And this is probably the point too where if you wanted to add some ribbon or that cording, if you wanted to add a hanger, you could certainly put that on the back as well. That looks a little bit wonky, doesn't it? It didn't go together quite as well as I wanted to. I need to put some more tear tape too. And I can actually come all the way across up here. So, you know, there's lots of different options. This is really more of a straightforward. I should use my take your pick tool. That works really well once you burnish that down. Okay, now let's try putting this piece on. That's better. So when you look at the back, that comes up a tiny bit, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So that, you guys, is our frame. Isn't that so cute? I don't know what I did with my little piece that I can slide in. I don't know where I put it. There it is. So you can just come in at the top with your photo and slide it right in. Again, I wish I had gotten some of the wedding pictures from Tara and James' wedding is what I plan to put in here, but you get the gist of it. You just are able to slide that down in there. Okay, let's do a little bit of decorating. Now, I absolutely love this sentiment. It is so pretty. Went ahead and did a little bit of heat embossing because I didn't want to have the heat tool on camera with you guys, so we just did a little heat embossing there. And we're going to use that same sentiment, but I want to decorate this a little bit differently, and I thought I would go ahead and bring in the glittered ribbon. Now this has been in our catalog for a couple years now. It was actually part of a Halloween suite a couple of holiday catalogs ago. It has carried over, and I love this ribbon because it is glittered, it's shiny, and I've used it a ton for different classes, but this works really well with this project too. So I have an idea of what I want to do. I think I'm going to go ahead and use some dimensionals and pop our sentiment up first. I want to make sure I use plenty of dimensionals since this is a 3D item.
Cassandra was wanting to ask if you could add more depth to it.
I don't know why you couldn't.
You just have to make your chipboard thicker before you wrap it.
You could probably stack them. Yeah, that'd be something to kind of play with, almost make like a shadow box. Is that where she's going with that?
I think so.
I think you could stack more layers if you wanted to. I don't know why you couldn't. I'm using lots and lots of dimensionals, but
The one about why the DSP is on the bottom layer, why we covered the chipboard, and that just gives it.
yeah, I think just to give it a little bit more finished look all the way around, you probably could get by without doing that. If you want to save a little bit of paper. You can, you know, if this were hanging, or if you put it on a little plate holder or something on a desk, I think it just makes it more finished all the way around, but you wouldn't have to do that if you don't want to. It doesn't take a lot of paper to do this. Okay, now I'm going to take this ribbon and just kind of swoosh it back and forth like this, because I'm going to put this right up here. And it's just like really even covering the whole piece of chipboard. You don't have to do that, but I do feel like it just gives you a nicer, especially if you're going to use this as a gift, it just gives you a nicer finish to it. Okay, so I'm going to bring in, I think, I don't know, should we use silver? We've got gold embossing, but I'm half tempted to use some silver. Let's do the gold. Let me see if I can get that end off. I'm just going to tie this in the center with a little piece of this trim. If I can get my fingers to work. Okay, y'all let me know what you think, if this is something you would be interested in making. I hope you will. I thought it was really cute. I'm just going to knock that a couple of times. And then trim that off. And then somewhere I have a bow. Do you see it, Bill? That I made earlier with the little scrap. I put it on a piece of glue dot paper, and now I've lost it. It's on a little strip. I had one glue dot left. I don't see it. Let me see if I've got some glue dots up here. I do. So I made a little bow with the gold cording. Let me see if I can get that tighter. That I'm just going to put on with the glue dot. I'm hoping that will stick to that glittered ribbon. I think it will. Yeah, I think that's going to work. That just pulls in a little bit more sparkle. And I'm going to put that right up here. And I'm excited to give these to Tara. She'll be going back to work at the office soon. And I thought this would be something nice that she could display some wedding photos. Put a little piece of tear tape. But again, you could make them with whatever kind of project you want to. And we are almost done with this video. And of course we'll be back. What time is it, Dee?
and 35.
We'll be back at 11 with one last project to demonstrate, and then we'll be doing our this or that. And last month, Facebook did not cooperate with us, and we could only see Cassandra's comments. So we're kind of jokingly calling it Cassandra's this or that, but hopefully it'll show us everybody's comments this time. Okay. So there is our picture frame, one we just made and the one that we made for you. I love both of them. I think they both turned out really cute. It's a fun project and just so many different things that you could do with it. I thought too, even if you printed out some little sayings, it would be really cute for it to say, you know, Carrie's Craft Room or something like that. You could put this really anywhere in your home or office. So let us know if you guys have any questions. We'll be posting all of the measurements for you in case you would like to create this project, and I hope you will. And if you do, I hope that you'll share pictures. We will be back at 11 o'clock for our last demonstration and this or that. See you then.